David, a lot of weeds to clear out.
I mentioned Donnie, right?
I brought my weed whacker.
A lot of weeds to sort of sort through and clear out, and it's hard to see exactly what's going on. We have heard reports that there are parts of this story that the weeds go further and will be more ensnarling. We've heard other sources have also told us through reporting that the stories about the contacts, David, during the campaign were actually not extensive, and that story may not be as significant of a story, but there's no doubt, I'm sure you're hearing the same thing as I am, that Donald Trump's contacts with Russia, the intel community sources I speak with say there still is more to come there.
There still is a lot more investigation to complete. There's a broad look by the FBI, aided by other intelligence agencies, to establish what happened during this period when Russia was mounting an aggressive covert action against our political system. What contacts were made, how were things paid for, who were the cutouts that the Russians used, all the things you'd have in a normal counterintelligence or moving into criminal investigation are going on here. Now, these investigations take a long time. I think people need to be very careful about little droplets of information that pop out because it's a big systematic investigation. The best hope is it'll be conducted professionally, and that at the end of the day, we'll actually know what happened. We'll have real facts, and we can begin to make decisions.
Yes. And again, that's the key. I said it a couple days ago. Let's not get ahead of the facts. Let's have the investigations. They need to be extensive investigations, but don't get ahead of the facts. I saw this so many times during the Clinton administration. Would always find some information, and this was going to be the end of Bill Clinton. And there was a buzz around Washington, D.C. Everybody always got ahead of the facts.
Let's not. Don't think there's a need to do that, but it's time to see what we see.
And we see the need for an extensive investigation,
Absolutely.
I think.
The New York Times reports that President Trump is looking to shake up the intelligence community with a broad review of the nation's spy agencies. According to the report, Steven Feinberg, a billionaire private equity executive, is President Trump's choice to lead the review. But it could be a prelude to a larger role in intelligence. Quote, reports that Feinberg was under consideration to run the clandestine service rocked the intelligence community in recent weeks, raising the prospect of direct White House control over America's spies at a time when Trump's ties to Russian President Vladimir Putin are under investigation by the FBI and congressional committees. This, as a new report in today's Wall Street Journal, alleges that intelligence officials have withheld sensitive information from the president due to concerns it could be leaked or compromised. The paper cites current and former officials. However, the report says the current and former officials emphasize that they know of no instance in which crucial information about security threats or potential plotting has been omitted.
By the way, we just have to say this right now again for people who are watching and are trying to sort through this. There is no doubt the Wall Street Journal has gone from being the most hostile conservative voice towards Donald Trump during the campaign to certainly now seeming to bend over backwards to actually parrot much of what the administration puts out. If you looked at their editorial yesterday, David Ignatius, not to knock any paper specifically or an editorial board, but an editorial board that was hypercritical of Donald Trump during the campaign. Yesterday, they used their editorial page to say, oh, there's nothing to see here other than leaks coming from intel agencies.
Well, and with the Journal, I just want to stress, I once worked for the Wall Street Journal for 10 years as a reporter. The iron wall between the news and editorial side of that paper is stronger than at most. The issue that the Journal has been struggling with is there been any attempt to shape the coverage as opposed to the editorials, which are always going to be opinionated and change over time. And that's the thing that newsroom has really been talking about and worrying about.
David, were you concerned yesterday? The editorial, the lead editorial for the Wall Street Journal did not even mention any concerns about improper contacts that Michael Flynn had with Russia. But instead, their editorial focused solely on leaks. It was as if Donald Trump had written the editorial himself.
Joe, it was an editorial. It's not the editorial position that I would have written. I don't agree with it. I think to argue that this is about leaks as opposed to the behavior of our public officials is wrong, but it's an editorial. I'd be concerned if I felt that that editorial was matched idea for idea in the news coverage, and I don't see that happening.
But David Ignatius, look at the headline today. Again, this is sort of what we do. We look at media and we pound the New York Times all the time. But that yesterday is followed up on the front, on the top of the Wall Street Journal with spies keep intelligence from Trump. That's the screaming headline. You dig down into the story and you actually find out that they don't have one single instance of where important intelligence was kept from the President of the United States.
They have a pretty good quote from Adam Schiff, the ranking Democrat on the House Intelligence Committee. The story is thin beyond that quote, so I didn't think it was a blockbuster.
The story is thin, and look at this headline, guys. It's not to David. I'm going to take David off the hotspot. It is an extraordinarily thin story. But Mike, again, yesterday, instead of talking about Flynn, yesterday their lead editorial, Wall Street Journal, the editorial page that I've read my entire life, yesterday they say nothing to see here with Flynn. Forget the improper ties. Forget the lying. Forget everything else. We ought to look at the leaks. And now look at this headline today on the front page. Spies keep intelligence from Trump, in a story that is thinly sourced, and even their thin sources say, well, at the end of the day, we really don't have anything here.
Well, I think, you know, David and I are going to come from the same classroom on this. I don't care what's in the editorial page, as long as what's in the editorial page on
and my point is,
seeps into the coverage.
It appears to be matched.
But also, you write the story, and I think David would probably be the same as I am. I'm not responsible for the headlines. I don't write the headlines. I write the story. I don't write the headlines. Some guy in the copy desk writes the headlines.
You think some guy in the copy desk wrote that headline, Mike?
I think probably
or do you think
it was a little bit more than the copy desk. I think it was.
You think it might have come down from above?
No, I don't think it came down from above.
I
think it came down from middle management in the news.
I don't think this
but if you read the story, the story is very thin. The president is still getting the intelligence.
I agree, Joe, with what you're calling the journal, but there's something that happens sometimes with employers and employees or relationships where you just turn to each other and you go, this is not working out. And, you know, when I see right now at day 27, a White House...
Hold on 1 second. Hey, Sam, I think what Connie's trying to say is we thank you for being with us. If you can take the rice-a-roni's at the door and take the rice-a-roni and go home.
Maybe a different day.
You have a
Because my
White House
fantasy drafts in like 20 minutes. I would appreciate that.
You have a White House with no organization skills. You have this Russia connection that continues to unfold fugly, in a very fugly way. And you also, on top of it, and the net is, we have a White House that's getting nothing done as far as policy when you compare what happened to Obama after 30 days and W after 30 days. And no matter how you peek at this thing, this just feels like a president, a guy that doesn't belong in that job. I mean,
well, let me jump in here.
More and more apparent.
Jump in.
Yeah, I mean, I think to tie this all together, the subtext of the Journal story and what you mentioned about Steven Feinberg taking over this intel review, I think goes to Donnie's point, which is that instead of sort of looking at the Flynn, I think you could call it a fiasco at this point, and trying to figure out what exactly was happening with Russia prior to the election, the outcome here seems to be pointing in towards a massive purge coming, directed by the administration of the intel community of potential leakers. And you're seeing this seep into not just the coverage in the Wall Street Journal, but also what's going on Capitol Hill, too. Last night, Jason Chaffetz, the chair of the House Oversight Committee, put out a letter, his first call for an investigation into the Flynn matter. The investigation he wants is whether classified information was leaked to these reporters with respect to Flynn's phone calls. Yeah. And I think where we're going with this is sort of a fairly dark place, which is a massive tamp down on whistleblowers, a massive purge of the intel community of people who the Trump administration feels are unsympathetic to their cause and may have precipitated Flynn's dismissal, resignation, firing, or whatnot. Yeah, and I think that suggests someone who is sort of grasping for control, as Donnie points, and doesn't really have a good grasp right now.
And David Ignatius, this is also someone, this billionaire, is also someone with very close connections with Steve Bannon. So Steve Bannon remarkably was put on the National Security Council, where he does not belong. And now they're having a close business tie. They hope to bring him in to purge the intel agencies.
This move to bring in the president's personal emissary, as it were, to review and adjust the activities of the intelligence services is gonna really bite deep. These people think of themselves as professionals. They do not like being, and they are professionals. They risk their lives every day trying to keep the country safe. They don't get much credit. When military officers walk across an airport, we all stop and we clap and we thank them for their service. These guys basically, just skulk around. They don't want anybody to notice them, and their heroism is not noted or appreciated.
And when they die for their country, there are no parades.
Joe,
they put a star on a wall.
Joe, yep. This is the President of the United States and a small handful of people in the West Wing and the White House going to war with specific agencies of the government, of their government, of our government. That's what this is.
Beyond reprehensible. It's damn stupid also.
Well, and we have been saying that since November. You pick a fight with the intel community, you're picking a fight with the wrong community. And Mika, also, the Republicans on Capitol Hill, I've got to say, I spoke to quite a few senators the other day, and I was really impressed with the Republican senators who basically said, we're here, we're shoulder to shoulder. If he steps out of line, our duties are the Constitution of the United States. Judicial review, you're damn straight. Mitch said it on camera. All the other Republicans I spoke to said it too. This president does not have unlimited powers. This president will be checked by the courts, just like we'll be checked by the courts. But you look on the House side, I'm hearing Paul Ryan also very strong in conversations off the record as well, saying, we do our job. If the time comes, we do our job. But some of these Republicans, I'm just going to say it, Jason Chaffetz, of the things that he's been saying have been shameful. And a lot of the Republicans that were cheering the leaks from the intel community and from WikiLeaks when it involved Hillary Clinton, cheering it every day, are now suddenly wanting to have a witch hunt and go through town with torches blazing and have a McCarthy type a purge.
I want to ask Joe a question based on what you just said, Joe, because you talk to so many people based on Republicans. Are you getting a sense that literally 1 month into this, you have a band of Republicans who are their eyes are starting to pick up above the surface that, you know what, there's going to be a point in time where we're all going to raise our hand and say, this is not our guy anymore.
Well, listen, they're already saying that, but there's quiet. They look back in their districts, and right now Donald Trump has a 40% approval rating in Gallup and probably a lot higher in their districts. So they'll see what happens. But they're all there, and they all know if the time comes, their loyalty is to their country and to their party and not to Donald Trump. Yes, and they've said it.
Yesterday, the president also tweeted, quote, "The real scandal here is that classified information is illegally given out by intelligence like candy. Very un-American, exclamation point. And information is being illegally given to the failing New York Times and Washington Post by the intelligence community, NSA and FBI, question mark, just like Russia."
Is that meant as a compliment, Mika?
Honestly.
Well, no, I'm just curious.
Honestly,
is that meant like a compliment?
Honestly, I don't know.
Oh, okay.
Nor should you.
I don't.
President Trump also wrote one tweet in which he thanked columnist Eli Lake for writing, "The NSA and FBI should not interfere in our politics."
Thanks for checking out MSNBC on YouTube, and make sure you subscribe to stay up to date on the day's biggest stories. And you can click on any of the videos around us to watch more from Morning Joe and MSNBC. Thanks so much for watching.